it's like I want, in the end, I was able to win the contest. And it was like, yes, finally, you putting that useless knowledge into work.
Okay, so I'm going to do my homework between now and the next episode, which I'm hoping is just 2 weeks from now and not 4. I will get... Here, I'm actually going to pull my deck out now. Pull my deck out.
Oh my God, he's pulling his deck out. Recording.
Hello, Craig. And hello, everybody. Wow. Episode 89. Again, it's been a little while. It has been a crazy few weeks in life. Just did normal shit. Mainly the girls getting out of school for the year, which is always incredibly busy. And just some shit, and like helping my dad with some of my mom's final stuff. Settling her affairs, and then getting ready for Mia's birthday this weekend. It's just fucking craziness. Yeah, craziness. Well, not her birthday, but her birthday party.
The party, yeah.
Yeah, so she's got like her friends coming, and
Oh, that pizzazz.
What, Abby?
Did you find my tablet?
No, so you're gonna have to wait for the Switch to show. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, barring any more.
Okay.
Jesus H. Christ. That's okay. We'll take out that gap in post, unless you had some poetry there that I missed.
You never know. You're gonna have to find it in edit.
I'm gonna have to find out in edit. Oh God. So yes, life, as you can see, is a little crazy, but wow, has it been a fun I'd say a fun month for games.
Oh yeah. We're hitting that summer stride, I think.
Oh man, I can't wait to talk about that too, because I gotta be real here. A lot of people lament the passing of E3. And I think it's one of the best things to happen in gaming.
Well, apparently, you saw, like, apparently it's not dead.
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently next year they will be back not only in person but virtually. So it's like I thought they I have to look at it. I thought they went bankrupt.
I thought so too, and the last thing I had heard was that they weren't holding it this year, and they weren't planning on holding anymore. Although now that
that was like that was definitely like the news. Like I think over the really since last year, so to speak. Like I thought put a stake in it, E3's dead. But I saw an article that apparently they'll be back next year. So it's like question mark.
That's interesting, because I think now that I really am playing this over in my head, I think a lot of the journalism outlets were saying, if they don't do it this year, E3 is done. And I think a lot of people kind of ran with that. But I
speculation. But but again, I thought I read somewhere that they had gone bankrupt, and but I agree with you. Like I think here's the thing, and maybe we're jumping around a little bit, but it's like the E3 has been, I say, swallowed up in the sense by other factors along the way. Like, because originally, for those who don't know what E3 started strictly as a way for game developers to present their games to the publishers
and the video gaming press.
Yeah, it was not designed to be open necessarily to the public, but over the years, and I want to say, almost like 2005-ish, maybe as early as 2000, it started to become very public facing, and it became kind of like the. It was always held in like the summer months, June. I don't know if there's a specific time frame, but
it was always June. It was always June, I think.
Yeah, and it became kind of like this public facing, like here's the summer block, not necessarily the summer blockbuster, but kind of like the mid year point of like here's the stuff that you could eventually look forward to around the holidays, because it's usually like it was teeing things up for like Q4 stuff. Plus, maybe something that may be happening more immediately. And, it changed over the years, and eventually it became like the big three. So you had Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Doing their big, huge press conferences, which admittedly I loved watching live, because, something would always fail on stage.
It was great.
And that's what made it for me. Like the fact that over especially, I'd say 5 years now, I guess. like obviously Sony has dropped out to do their own. Well, do they? I know they have
State of play.
Well, they have the state of play. Do they do that during E3? Or
Generally, yes, they do a
Okay.
Sony state of play during the.
Yeah, so it's
The
like they have their
E3
thing. Nintendo dropped out, and they also have their Nintendo Direct.
The tree fort.
Yeah, the tree. That's what it is. They do their tree fort. Microsoft is still the holdout of the big three, and obviously there's other like subdivisions.
Well, I don't know.
Well, they were still doing it. Well, I say they're quote unquote they were still doing it live. Again, pre-COVID.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Pre-COVID, they were still the ones kind of like doing it somewhat live. They weren't doing like their own specific,
At that point, yeah, pre-COVID, yes.
Yeah, and obviously once COVID hit, then all sticks are off the table. But so it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. Because I have a feeling because it seemed like Sony was like just pulling out altogether. Like they weren't doing any of that. They wanted a very sterile, controlled environment to be able to present their games. And definitely, I think post COVID, I think we're going to get a lot of that. I like obviously coming up in the next couple of days. We already had the Sony state of play already on last Thursday.
Yeah, it was decent. There was some neat stuff there.
Yeah, nothing really jumped out at me. I mean,
nothing.
It was like, okay, that looks cool, but nothing like, oh yeah, that's it.
The Callisto project looks like a spiritual successor to Dead Space, and I am here for that.
Yes, yeah, and they advertised that last year at E3. I don't know if it was a Sony exclusive or I think it's all platform if I'm not mistaken. So it could just be like Sony had the take on
the dibs on the release. Like,
yeah, exactly, or at least they did their version of the dibs on it. Definitely looking forward to it. Yes, definitely like it has that Dead Space feel to it. I'm all about that. But yeah, nothing. I think you mentioned a few others like the Spider-Man game. It's like okay, yeah, it's like it looks good.
If you never played it, it's an absolute must.
Yeah,
absolute must. Like it's one of the best games ever made.
There's like nothing was really like oh yeah that it's like if this is not a Sony exclusive and it's obviously Sony's advertising it, but it's like available on all platforms. Like it's like I want to play that. Like nothing stood out as like that's the one.
Yeah, that's the system. Sorry, no, I agree with you. I think that one kind of fell flat.
And then tomorrow we have the the Summer Game Fest, hosted by Jeff Keighley. Now he did preface it saying like I think trying to set expectations like these are more or less going to be most of the titles that have in some way been announced, so it's not going to be anything necessarily new.
Yeah.
Other than maybe new footage or just additional information on what this game is, maybe gameplay, depending on whatever it is. But it seemed to set it seems to be setting expectations like don't expect anything new to be revealed. Which
I don't know.
Kind of a mixed feeling, but at the same time, it's like kind of understand it because again we're now coming out of the pandemic. And it's like a lot of these studios have like either push stuff back or stuff
shit's been delayed.
It's just all it's all over the place. So it's
I'd assume we might get one or two surprises, but I don't think it's going to be anything earth shattering.
Yeah, nothing like previous. Yeah, I'm going to say E3, but it's basically like the summer event spectacucar, whatever you want to call it.
I'd love to see an announcement of Carrion 2. That would make my summer.
That's the like. I'm probably more interested in the Xbox showcase because
me too. That's the one I'm counting down.
That's the one. If anything, again, maybe they haven't set expectations like anything else. So, but again, I'm probably gonna like try and keep it low in the sense of like, okay, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but I'm looking forward to the more independent / this is coming on Game Pass, either smaller games, the Carrion, if there's going to be a Carrion 2.
That's when we're going to hear about it. Yeah, like that's exciting. Yeah. I find their show to be very exciting. Like they always tend to surprise. It's like you said, you actually just nailed it before too. It's just like they'll show you something really awesome and then they'll be like, and that's a Game Pass Day 1 exclusive. Yeah, it's like, fuck, all right.
Exactly. And it's like I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think Sony is finally getting onto
they're working on something.
Something. Yeah, it's like they're not quite there yet, but it's like their PlayStation was it PlayStation? I want to say PlayStation Pass, but that's not it.
It's confusing as fuck, to be honest with you. There's like all these different it really is like God bless Microsoft, man. You can shit on them all you want, but when it came to Game Pass, they're like, look, you could just do Xbox Live, or you can go fucking Ultimate. Like,
Yeah.
very simple, and that's it. And it's like, okay, good, I'm here for that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, the PlayStation one's like, I you know, I'm hearing rumblings and you know, again, you're right. It's like it's confusing because like sometimes you get like, you know, some day one exclusive stuff,
Like
but
different tiers will equal
yeah,
different time
right.
slots. It was just very. It seems very overcomplicated,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just early shit, and they're just throwing shit at the wall at this point. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm so invested in the Microsoft ecosystem at this point. Like, it is going to take a hell of a lot for me to jump onto another game subscription package.
Yeah, like it's yeah, I agree. Like Game Pass has finally solidified into something like
fucking rocking it, dude.
Absolutely
like,
massive, and I'd say unstoppable in a sense.
Yeah, it's definitely there. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely looking forward to that because that is also the Xbox and Bethesda showcase.
Yes.
And from my experience of working with a Microsoft subsidiary, Bethesda was big news when they bought them. Like, I still remember, like, everybody was like everybody was pumped. And I've heard a lot of rumblings from the game studios that, like, Microsoft tends to be, and this is true to form, like, very hands off on their creative, what they want to do and stuff. It's just they bring a lot more formality to releasing and a releasing cycle. So I do see it as exciting as to what we might see from Bethesda. Obviously, I think we all want to see more Starfield.
Yeah, obviously it got delayed. I think what was it? It's now spring of 23. I think
spring of 23. I think.
Yeah. So,
but
yeah,
I'm even skeptical. Like, I'm skeptical there because you just nailed it. Like, we haven't really seen gameplay, have we?
No, like it's all been kind of the pre-rendered,
yeah,
kind of teaser, so to speak. I definitely want to see some gameplay, hopefully soonish.
What is this game?
yeah, it's like and obviously, Star Citizen recently had its Invictus week, which is it's kind of fleet, in-game fleet week / in Memorial Day. They have it around end of May.
That's cool.
And so it kind of riles up the community again. You gets them all excited. And obviously, Starfield is kind of a little bit on the lips of like it's like we kind of want to see more. We're kind of as space fans, we're kind of excited. Like, what is this? Is it are we talking Skyrim in space, or it's like
I'd be A-okay with that. Like, that's a lofty britches to fill. Like, that would be great.
Exactly. But it's like what can you do? Are you able to fly ships, or is it simply you travel to a planet and more like what we got with
Mass Effect?
Well, Mass Effect or even Outer Worlds,
right.
Both great, but surprisingly, neither one you can fly the ship. It's like, oh man,
yes, like that, and I gotta say, any game doing this now. Now, granted, this game has had almost 4 years to cook, 4 or 5 years to cook. Well, not just Starfield, but I'm saying like any game of that nature is gonna have to bump up against No Man's Sky for the kind of freedom and multiplayer that. I think people want to see in these games now. Like, No Man's Sky is giving it to you,
which is still kicking butt. Like, I think they just recently they had their newest season, and
the newest thing, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but
there's a whole settlement building mechanic now, and like management on planets where you can. Oh, it's wild.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they had the whole like capital ship thing, but they kind of made that capital ship portion, but for colonies, wasn't it?
Sort of. It's more like you go down into a planet, you'll find like the beacon or whatever for a city. You'll go there, and it could be that like they're like being terrorized by bandits. You take care of the bandits or the sentinels. That's it.
Right.
And you take care of the sentinels, and then they just basically say, "Okay, you're on your magistrate now." And like,
okay.
You have to manage the city. You have to get like materials. You have to build certain buildings, and then what'll happen is, the more you support your colony or your city and build them up, you start getting like all kinds of really good resources and stuff that you need for upgrades and shit. It's a really cool loop, and it's really fun. Again, but it's like so seamless and so smooth.
Yes.
It's just any game in the space genre is going to have to compete with that now, I think. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. I want to see more Starfield. I want to see more. I know we've heard rumblings. I think we saw a splash screen for a new Elder Scrolls. I want to hear more about that.
Well, it's like an actual Elder Scrolls, or because there is also Elder Scrolls Online had teased their
no. I actually I was going to talk about that later.
Okay, you're talking about, okay.
Yeah, I'm back in. I'm back in on that.
All right, gotcha.
But no, I want to say it was the last Xbox showcase, and it was just one of those where like, with Bethesda and Todd Howard was just like, no, this ain't coming till 2023. But we just thought you'd like to know what we're working on, and it was just like a 5-second teaser trailer for the new Elder Scrolls. Oh yeah, so it was a new Elder Scrolls main entry. We'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's probably the one I'm looking most forward to. We'll hopscotch back here because man, I've had a lot of fun playing some games this month. But what have you been playing, man? What have you been up to?
So check it out, Sniper Elite 5 on Game Pass. Again, if you like the Sniper Elite series, it's more the same.
More the same, and it's fun.
Yeah. The formula does not change, but it does. The newest twist this time is allowing for invasions, which
is awesome. Have you actually tried playing that yet?
Oh yeah. I've done both sides of the thing, and it is absolutely fun. And for those that don't know, basically invasion. It's very similar to kind of a Dark Souls setup. If you're on the Allied side, you have your standard mission, whatever mission you've selected.
Your campaign, like you're playing a standard campaign.
You have your 9, 10 if you do the DLC. 9 campaigns. So you're on your mission now. I don't think the invasions happen until you completed your first objective.
I think you have to complete your first objective, and then
so it allows you to at least get settled. But then after your first objective, if you have an invasion turned on, then it has a chance for basically an enemy sniper to come in and basically counter snipe you. And you'll know when it happens. It's not like suddenly he'll just pop up out of nowhere. It'll be like there'll be a message saying invasion has occurred. The sniper is on the loose. And great mechanics, I thought. Like basically, there's these little phones around the map that if you use them, it kind of gives them their last known position. But they have a cooldown, so it's like you can't be ringing that thing all the time, and they kind of know when you use it.
On top of that,
to detect them, so you can kind of do counterintelligence. Like I'm going to go this direction, and they say like, "Oh, they know where you're at," and then you backtrack and do something else.
Right, but the kicker is they won't get your last known location unless you've been spotted by the troops.
Oh, okay.
So if you haven't set off the alarm, they can't find you. The second you set off the alarm, now you're on the map, and they can start doing your last known position.
Aha.
But they have to spot you first. So that adds another layer to it if you're playing the campaign, and you could be a sneaky snook and not get spotted. Well, then it's just going to be pure luck. Like, the sniper's going to know the objectives that you have on the map. And
well, they didn't even know that. Like they have to know the map and then investigate those points.
Okay.
And you figure out like, have you blown up the gun yet or anything? But yeah, they are not informed of like what objective you have or have.
Oh, that's
completed.
Cool.
Yeah, they strictly like the only way for the enemy sniper to know anything, like they can use the phone, but it's like every like 4 minutes or whatever. Is that, or like you said, like as soon as the enemy raises the alarm, then obviously they have that kind of information. But yeah, other than that, like they have to do completely investigative on their own to determine like, what are you doing, what are you up to? And it's completely awesome, just like kind of this cat and mouse game, and trying to figure things out.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. I've had fun with it. It's another one that's causing my Xbox to freeze. I don't know if it's overheating or whatever. Not all games do it. It's the weirdest thing. I could play some games for hours. But like the new EA games, this was one of the first ones outside of an EA game that would freeze the Xbox. So I was like, oh, hell with it. Thankfully, it's on Game Pass. I just pulled it on my PC and I've been playing it on that.
Oh, there you go.
So I know I'm enjoying it. And what I love about that is it's another one where the computer and the Xbox save go back and forth.
So you can just do, it's like, oh, I'm here and we're doing that.
It's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, no, so I've been playing that. All right, cool. What else you've been playing? Or watching, whatever.
Overwatch. Yeah. So we'll go through my games first. So finally picked up Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Oh, it's so fun.
Absolutely awesome playing that. I have to. It's hard to say, but it's like I think it's better than Borderlands 3.
Oh, I don't think that's a controversial opinion at all. Granted, I didn't like Borderlands 3. I'm enjoying the hell out of Tiny Tina's though.
Oh yeah, again that I'd say that perfect Borderlands humor. No quest never overstays its welcome. Just absolute hilarity. Tons of in jokes in terms of like if you ever done like tabletop or D&D or
you can tell
like
they really get it. They get the tabletop gaming. Whoever wrote this, like they were a tabletop gamer. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we're at PAX, they actually revealed like you can get a physicalized, badass game.
Get out.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of what they kind of based most of the game around. It's like, yeah, let's make an actual like bunkers and badass here.
That's so cool. I might have to look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super fun game. The loot system's cool. I love the random encounters, the overworld map. It's just very, very well done. Mm-hmm. The story is fun. The story is hilarious, man.
Oh, yeah. I find myself, it's either like, no snort or just like, oh, that was good. That was good.
It's just great. Like it's just a fun romp. I always say, like, I wish they'd make more games like this where it's just pure fun.
Yeah, it's like a good time. Have fun. You kind of tell they had fun. I think making this thing
absolutely
putting it together. Yeah,
and I can't think of his name now, but the guy that voices the big bad guy. Holy shit, is he great?
Oh yeah. He plays Batman in the Lego movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure everyone's screaming the name. I can't.
I'm looking now. It's getting.
I'm dying.
Lego movie Batman. That is Will Arnett.
Yeah, thank you. There we go.
He is fantastic in this. Just great voice acting. He is absolutely funny. He nails the sarcastic villain so fucking good. And again, the person, I forget her name now, that does Tiny Tina, she's a masterstroke too. Like she is absolute hilarity, nails the character. It is a lot of fun. I have nothing but good. Haven't had a lot of experience multiplayer. I tried playing crossplay one night with a couple of guys from work, and I just couldn't get it to work. So I've been playing other stuff, but that's definitely a good one. That's one I'm really enjoying.
Yep. And so, like I mentioned, Star Citizen Invictus was, I guess 2.5 weeks ago. But next week should be Alien Week. So when they reveal their alien ships. But I only talk about it because actually, Invictus I think has gone on for 2, maybe 3 years now. I think they put it on. I don't remember if they put it on with the pandemic or just slightly before. But every other iteration, like it's always been a crap fest because it's like suddenly the servers are flooded with new players and everything just grinds to a halt. This one surprisingly was pretty stable. Like the servers weren't crashing left and right, and it was actually pretty decent. I still had to like turn everything down way down, but it was actually a very pleasant time. And
wow,
they've actually I think they are finally, I think they're finally hitting their stride, and a little behind the scenes, or at least from the newsletters and whatnot, it's like it seems like they're putting a big focus on trying to get Squadron 42 finished. They're moving,
they gotta fucking do something, man.
It's like it seems like moving a lot of teams around, and it's like everything seems to be like we're Squadron 42 focus, 42 focus.
Well, it sounds like they got a good TPM over there finally.
Hopefully. And again, I don't think this is going to be the year of Star Citizen. Still, I think it's still going to be quote unquote next year. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some some
like
stuff.
2023. You think?
Yeah, I'm not saying release, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing major strides by 23.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, maybe that new system and the new star system to travel to, and maybe we'll see more tidbits on for Squadron 42 next year. But I'll keep huffing my copium. Opium.
I have to say, folks, for anyone that's listening to this podcast, Nick, we all know, is a backer of Star Citizen, has been for a very long time. But you, I have to say, have always been very honest and guarded about the state of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And this is probably the first time I've heard you have a modicum of confidence in the possibilities of next year.
Yeah, I know, right? Like you ask any Star Citizens, it's always been like, oh yeah, 2 years, and next year, 2 years, like we'll have something. But it's like it does feel like, okay, we might be on the verge of actually seeing something, more tangible than what we, obviously what we have with the persistent universe.
I'll take that to the bank. I've never heard you talk like this.
So
we might be onto something here.
Mark it next year, next Summer Game Fest E3. It's like, let's see some Star Citizen.
All right, we'll see if Nick's going to buy Al a beer or if Al's going to buy Nick a soda. Yeah, no, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. So it was fun. I saw you won some kind of song contest.
Oh yeah. So a lot of the community does what's called Bar Citizen. So they're having it virtually. Again, pre-pandemic, these were happening. Yeah, and again, it's just a chance for local Star Citizen fans to kind of meet up. Meet up together. Have drinks and just meet and whatnot. But virtually, the Soul Citizens. I highly recommend them. A good group. They were doing their virtual Bar Citizen. And one of the things was a soundtrack contest, and surprisingly, there were a lot of other soundtrack experts. They were putting me to task.
Really?
Yes. But it's like in the end, I was able to win the contest, and it's like yes, finally, you putting that useless knowledge to work.
I was gonna say, I'd be very shocked for you to lose that battle.
I know, right?
Oh, that's so funny. No, it's that's pretty wild. All right, no, I don't want to interrupt you. You're on a good roll here. I'm loving with the recap. This is good stuff.
Yeah, so I think that's it game wise. Show wise, and I think we talked about this. Star Trek. Hello. Oh my god.
Oh my god. You hadn't watched it yet, but the last episode you were kind of on the fence about signing up for the subscription service. Was I right that it was fucking worth it just for that?
Absolutely. Yeah, Star Trek New Worlds. And I came to the realization, and it's not that necessarily the other, I watched Picard and Discovery and whatnot. It's not necessarily those are bad, but I realized Star Trek, I think, works better episodically.
Yes! That's what I was trying to describe to you last month when we were talking about it. That there was something about this that felt more Star Trek than anything in the past 5 years, and that is exactly it. If you think back to TNG, very few episodes were continuous, and it might be 2 or 3 part episodes tops.
Yeah, you'd have maybe a small running arc, and they always had kind of the overall
story,
interpersonal relationships and whatnot. But there was never when you watch Discovery, when you watch both seasons of Picard, there's a stem to stern arc that takes place. Yeah. It's basically it's a miniseries. And the problem is, and I think that's where I see this in the fandom. And I think even in a sense, Star Wars. Now again, not that Star Wars works better episodically, but I think it somewhat suffers the same problem with the fandom.
Yeah,
where if you're not invested in the story, the overall arcing story that they're trying to tell, then you're basically out the entire miniseries.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Whereas, the episodic Star Trek especially when it comes to I think the way, Star Trek is always told, I say parables, but, putting modern day,
struggles through a futuristic lens.
Exactly that. Where if you can put it into a bite-sized episodic thing, it's much more digestible than trying to hit someone in the face with that same thing during an entire
5 episodes, dude.
5, 10, 12 episodes. Yeah.
It is the best Star Trek I've seen since TNG. I love it.
Yeah, and so bringing it back, it's so it's not only episodic, but it's it feels like old Trek again, and I think they really hit in on a good one here.
And to your other point, I love all the characters. I love the fucking crew so much.
Yeah,
they're all great. And obviously, and I forget his name again, but the guy that plays Pike.
It was Anton Mount, I think.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's it. He is phenomenal as a captain.
Yeah. He like you can kind of see like whether they wrote him like this or not, but like he has like kind of these Kirk-isms, so to speak. So it's like, it's like, Kirk could have easily picked up some of the stuff, but he's his own personality, so he's not like Kirk 2.0 or whatever. But
You could see where he would have influenced Kirk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's. I have nothing bad to say about that show. I'm not caught up yet. I don't know if they actually ended this season yet or not.
No, I think it's still running.
But I'm on. I'm gonna say I got up to about episode 4, and then Stranger Things.
Yeah, and another series comes out. It's like getting all these summer series, man.
And dude, I love this time of year. Love this time of year. But yes, no, I'm with you. Strange New Worlds is, if you are a Star Trek fan and you're like, I don't want to spend on another subscription, just fucking do it. Like, seriously, if you want to wait till it's all done, someone will spoil it for you. That's your deal. But you will have an absolute blast. Getting the subscription service, getting caught up. It's hour-long episodes. I haven't had one episode where I was like, that was a snore. And it's one of the first series where, like, I've been watching them all over again. It's probably why I'm behind. But, like, I keep watching them over again before they do it because I'm enjoying it so much.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's fantastic. The other one you got... I'm having a hard time with this one, but I want to hear your thoughts.
The Kenobi series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we're 4 episodes in, only 2 episodes left.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have been enjoying it thoroughly.
I gotta get back on it. I watched 2 episodes.
Okay.
My brother-in-law and I watched 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I don't want to say I don't like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm hooked yet. Like, again, and that was coming off of Strange New Worlds. When I watched the first episode, I was like, holy fuck, I want more of this now.
It's definitely like, it will not, you'll have a hard time holding up to, I think, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds and all that. So it's like, if it's between the two, I'd actually go Star Trek.
Okay, that's a shock. You're a Star Wars fan. But I do have to put this out there. I have to put this out there. It just reinforces why Ewan McGregor was such a great choice for Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is fabulous. Like,
he nails the role, and I will say we're already 4 episodes in, only 2 episodes left, and I'm already saying, like, oh man, I hope there's, I just want more, like, because I feel like there is more story to tell here, and I think they have teased to season 2 at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, like I feel it's gonna be this short and sweet thing, and it's like, I think it is gonna kind of leave us wanting more. I have a feeling things are not gonna get resolved very well.
That's what I'm feeling. Like, even 2 episodes in, I'm like, there's a lot here for just 6 episodes that they have to cover.
Yeah, and that's probably wwhy I am enjoying it. It's like, again, like you said, like Ewan McGregor is just nailing. He's stepping back into that role again. I'm liking the story of where they're taking. I won't spoil for those that haven't seen it yet.
Sure.
But it's like, oh, okay, I'm in for this ride.
Okay, so I'm gonna do my homework between now and the next episode, which I'm hoping is just 2 weeks from now and not 4. I will get caught up on this because, again, I did enjoy the first 2 episodes that I saw with my brother-in-law. I wasn't hooked, but. I'm finished. We're almost done with Stranger Things season 4, part 1. Yes, that's a mouthful.
Well, in 2 weeks it should be done, so you'll be able to watch the entire series. So
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So but yes, good shit. All right. I think is that it for you?
I think that is it. Yeah.
All right.
Oh wait. There was one more. It's not a show. It's a movie.
oh yes. Okay.
It is, I think it's the first time I've been to the movies since the pandemic, and holy crap, Top Gun Maverick. Let me just say, it is absolutely worth trying to see that in theaters. Take your due precautions and all that. Totally respect that. But it's like, this is one of those movies like, yeah, you want to see this in theaters. Like it's just like
Okay.
the level of immersion. Now I watched it in standard. I didn't watch it in IMAX or they have a
Okay, no, that's good to know.
4D IMAX, which I've been told like that's even better. Like spray water in your face and wind and all this. It's like being at the amusement. But I watched it standard, and it was absolutely worth seeing in theaters. The way I would describe it is if you saw Ford versus Ferrari. Now I didn't get to see that in theaters. I ended up.
It's a great movie, though. Holy fuck!
Yeah, but watching it with a home theater system, like, oh man, this would have been fantastic to watch in theaters. And I kind of like kicking myself for never having gone to see it at the time. But yeah, like the level of immersion and like I say, sound design in Ford and Ferrari, like it really felt like it's like you feel like you're in this race car.
That's so cool.
And yeah, just the way they did Top Gun Maverick is like the same thing. Like, if you watch the behind the scenes, like they were actually in the fighter jets. Now, obviously, they were riding in the second seat, but the way they have it set up and where they're cutting and editing and everything put together, is like, yeah, you feel like you're in the plane with the pilots. And
so cool, man.
And it's a great story too.
Well, I was going to say that was a big draw to the first one, because at the time, there was never anything like that. Like, and you felt like you were in the seat, and it gave you a look inside the airplanes. And I guess my first question, better than the first? And I love the first. That is a classic killer of 80s movies.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I actually watched the Top Gun in preparation for Top Gun Maverick. It's like, okay, you know what? I need a refresher course. Let's watch the first one.
Not for the first time, right? I don't have
No. I didn't see it it's like one of those. I need to watch it all the way through before I watch the second one. Just refresh, and it'll probably and there are a lot of I say Easter eggs and nods
back.
Yeah,
all right.
Other than it's like surprisingly and. I'm trying to recall, but it's surprising. I don't think they do too many catchphrase.
Oh, thank God!
In the second one, although they definitely make nods to those catchphrases.
Oh, that's wonderful.
As part of that, I think.
Okay.
And you'll know the scenes like it's like
I've seen
I see where we're going with this. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you don't get. I don't get the need for speed. Like you don't get that, and you do have like say like somewhat cheesy lines, I guess. But
no bare shirted volleyball scenes, please.
No, there is. It's not volleyball. It's not volleyball, but yeah, there is. Yeah.
No, I joke. But that was the one scene where it was like, you know what? They're just showing off their cast. Like,
oh yeah. Well, again, surprisingly, when they have the scene in 2, it's not. I don't feel it's as overdone as it is in 1.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's the thing. Like watching the entire thing, like they'll have these callbacks, but it won't necessarily like beat you over the head or like, oh, here it comes. It's like here's the catchphrase, or here's the thing from the first one.
It's
like
good.
I'd say it's done tastefully, and it's like, and you'll watch it like gotcha. I see where you're going.
No, I really want to see it. Yeah. I thought the first movie was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
The writing was good. It probably may not hold up as well for people today, but again, you have to be able to kind of rewind yourself back to be a product of the time, like Nick and I were. This is the height of the Cold War, and that is definitely a big part of the backdrop of the first Top Gun, and it's just a well done movie. But it's funny. Everyone I know that's gone to see this is saying the same thing that you are. Like, this is a fucking whopper. Like, it is the Jaws summer blockbuster of 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like the story now, and here's the kicker. I don't know if it's the case of like, because obviously this was going to release, I think it was going to release
around the time Flight Simulator did.
Yeah, well, I think it was like summer of 2020 was its original release date, more or less. But obviously, COVID is like, and they went into this whole like, okay, we cannot release this via streaming. And having watched it, I would agree. Like I
all right,
and obviously you can't see it in streaming right now. It's not released like the other movies have, where it's either like done a limited theater release plus streaming or whatever. Now I'm sure eventually it will, but it's like I think they did make the right decision. Like again, this is worth.
It feels that way. It's a theater movie, and I
this
totally
is
get it.
Absolutely a theater movie. It was worth the wait. And I am curious, like, did they use the time to like make it that much better?
Possible, sure.
And
like digital grading and shit, I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, not even just like visuals, just down to like editing, pickups, editing, something just to put it that extra bit of sheen. I say that I'll make a callback to now. Granted, this wasn't a grand blockbuster, but John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes. Oh, good callback.
If you look up the behind the scenes for this, and I can't remember the reason. There was some kind of delay or something.
Yeah, was it a strike?
It may have been. But yeah, basically there was something where like the movie production wasn't shut down, but it was put on hiatus.
Yeah.
And the whole team, Carpenter had like I think an additional like 6 months or something to kind of work on refinements and editing, and I think they did do some pickups. And now granted, it wasn't a blockbuster at the time, but it comes this very, very cult classic, and it's a very well executed movie.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And it, watching it nowadays, like, I think it still holds up, but maybe,
fuck yeah, dude, I just watched it last weekend.
Yeah, child of the 80s. And it's like, you realize the level of suspense is just like perfect throughout. And it's like, it's the perfect whodunit. I love rewatching and trying to determine like, okay, at what point were people infected?
Yes.
It's like, who's the thing at this point in the movie?
And again, and I'm sure you're with me, I've probably seen this movie 50 times.
Oh yeah. And like, I'll do the same thing every time. It's like, is he infected by this point? I can't remember. Oh man, it's like
you've never seen it and you're listening to this show. A, I'm very shocked.
Yeah, it's like B, go out and see it.
Stop whatever the fuck you're doing and go watch it. Like it is a masterclass in suspense horror movies. It's so well done. And to your point, I think it absolutely holds up. It's a great movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they use that extra time to just like, just make it just right to what it is now. And oh man, I am also kind of hoping they have either like a director's cut or just like extended footage of like behind the scenes. Like I've seen some of the
cuts on everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just give it all. Let me see everything.
I know they cut it for theater, so just give me all the shit you really want to put into it, and I'll fucking sit and watch all 3.5 hours.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't think I'll get a chance, unfortunately, to see it in theaters, at least until we can get, the vaccine for my 3-year-old.
Yep, sure.
But unless I can go see it empty, because again, like Amber and I were on the fence. We went and saw Jackass Forever, and it was literally me and her in one end of the theater, and there was she was probably a grandmother and her teenage grandson. In the middle of the theater, and then there was a couple at the back. And the best was I hate to say grandmother, because she was probably my age or Amber's age. And I swear to God, dude, it was start to finish. I laughed so fucking hard through that entire movie. And it was like, we got done. We're walking out, and the grandmother and her teen comes out, and Amber and I are like, yo, can we just say how fucking cool it is you're here with either your teenage son or grandson to see a Jackass movie? And she's like, oh, me and Jackass go way back. She's like, I gotta educate this little asshole. Oh, it was great. And but yeah, that one, when that comes out, Nick, holy shit, you gotta watch that. Like, that is like shocking Charlie on the couch funny.
Oh no.
Dude, there were scenes in that I couldn't fucking breathe. But yeah, that aside, like, I was very, very nervous about going to see this. This reeks of blockbuster.
Well, that was the crazy part, because I was in KOP to go see it it wasn't IMAX, but it was opening weekend, opening weekend Saturday.
Oh, it was opening Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, opening weekend Saturday, and I went in one of their 500 seat, multi-level theaters, thinking like, oh yeah, this is gonna be crazy packed. It's got to be. Yeah. And they're like, me and 10 people.
That must have rocked.
Oh yeah, I basically had the whole set of rows to myself, and it was like, this is perfect.
That's amazing.
Like, this is the way to see it, like completely undisturbed. I didn't have to worry about a crying baby or something like that, or some
and this
some
is
big
coming
head
from
in my
somebody
way.
with a baby. This is coming from somebody with a baby. Well, not so much anymore. She's a toddler. I fucking hate you. There are two people I hate in theaters. It's the people who bring their fucking baby, and it's the assholes talking on their phone.
Oh man, or they're texting. They got like the bright light and just like disturbing your vision.
Can't you just fucking put that shit down for a fucking hour and a half? You fucking reject. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So and I'll be honest with you, that's half the reason I haven't gone to theaters in years. This was even pre-pandemic. And it was one of those, like, I remember saying to Am when we went and saw Jackass, I was like, man, I just hope there's no assholes in the theater. And I think that's what made it so special, was it was like, you could just tell it was 6 of us, and everybody was a fan. And we were just watching it, and just the 6 of us were laughing loud enough for an entire theater. Like, that was actually really fun. Like, everybody was just fucking dying at this movie. But yeah, anyway. No, I'm definitely going to see it. I love the first movie. I'm really excited to see what they do with the Pete Mitchell Maverick character.
Oh yeah, again, that part's very well done.
I assume that like they've touched on, because this is the thing, when the first Top Gun came out, there was a naval aviation school called Top Gun. At the time. Top Gun, I think, was closed in the mid '90s, maybe.
I can't remember.
Maybe late '90s, early 2000s, but it closed. And like when I saw they were making a sequel, I was like, oh wow, I wonder if they're going to handle like what happens. He was going to be an instructor at Top Gun, and what happened there. So cool.
Yeah, they actually they make the comment on that. Yeah, so like they don't leave much open. Obviously, I guess they're they don't fill in all the gaps, but I think they fill in enough and answer your questions like, what has he been doing all these years?
Yeah. Yeah, the only other thing I have to ask before we move on to what I've been playing is Strickland in the movie.
No,
I don't know.
The actor's dead. I think he died.
Are you kidding me? No,
I'm pretty sure he died.
No.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, James Tolkien. He is still alive. You piece of shit.
Is he really? I thought he died.
James Stewart Tolkien, born 1931. Aren't you an asshole?
An asshole.
And just a picture of the picture.
90 years. Look at him. Go.
Wow.
Look at him go.
Holy shit, he still looks the same.
Right.
It's a 2019 picture to Back to the Future convention.
Surprisingly, he was not in it. He was not. But they do bring back. And I don't think this is too much of a spoiler.
Cargo plane full of rubber dog shit.
No, there is no. Yeah, like that would have been funny if that is something like that happened. Maybe Top Gun 3. But they do bring Val Kilmer back.
How?
You'll have to watch the movie.
Right.
It is very, very well done, very touching. The way they handle that.
It's cool. If you haven't seen it, by the way, Nick, I think it's on Prime.
His documentary.
His documentary.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, man, so good.
That is a fucking heart wrencher, but it was so. Yeah.
But yeah, like the same. They actually handle that very, very, very well.
I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
I'd say like that. That's like one of the more moving parts of the film.
That's really cool, man. Because like, I had heard that. I had heard he made an appearance in it, and at the time, all I had heard was like he had been pretty sick with cancer. And then Amber and I watched his documentary. It's called Val. It was on Prime Video. I don't know if it still is.
I think it's still there.
It's phenomenal. Like, again, I wasn't even the biggest Val Kilmer fan, and he'd probably agree with me. Like, I had heard a lot of people saying he was just a raging douchebag on a lot of movie sets. And like, I don't know. He was just one I was like, yeah, he's cool, and I like seeing him in movies. I don't know, I want to watch something. But after hearing he was sick, I was really curious as to like, what has he been doing? And it's actually a really amazing movie about somebody kind of growing into just a genuine human being after being faced with like, basically a career-ending life event. And highly recommend it. All right, no, and now I'm even more geared to see it, as I had heard he was in it, and I thought it was just a rumor.
Yeah, and then you think like, oh, it's like maybe it's something super cheesy or whatever. Like, no, it's actually pretty moving when he's in it. So
That's cool, man. No, I gotta check that out. But yes, so that is on my list. If and only if I can tear myself away from my Steam Deck.
yeah, it's like, anything good new on that, or any highlights for that?
Oh my god, I have got 57 games installed on my Steam Deck.
And you have like the big Bertha one, right?
Yes, I bought the Bertha one. Again, if you're gonna get a deck, get the Bertha. Two reasons. Aside from the space, that space is powered by NVMe. NVMe is like the latest tech in solid state. I have one in my main desktop PC. There's solid state, and then there's NVMe, which is like super performant solid state technology. Like I can load Total War Warhammer 3, the campaign map or a battle map in like 4 seconds.
Holy crap.
Yeah, dude, NVMe is nothing to fuck around with. That's on my main desktop. But what makes it great on the deck is like you could just, it's, and again, I can't say enough. Like this is an incredibly powerful piece of hardware. I have played Death Stranding on it, and it plays fine. I played here. I'm actually gonna pull my deck out now. Pull my deck out.
Oh my god, he's pulling his deck out.
I'll go through some of the ones that I have and stuff. I know a lot of people are like, well, how does it run, newer games? And so far, the newer games that I have, it runs fine. Where I'm finding that I'm having the most fun with this, though, is a lot of the games that I would play normally on my PC that I've been dying to play on the couch. I've talked about it a lot on here. One of my favorites role-playing game series right now is the Legends of Heroes Trails series. I started going and playing Trails in the Sky. I'm on the second game now, which is Trails in the Sky second chapter. And it's a good, 32-bit JRPG, kind of like PlayStation era graphics. It's like those games were made for this thing. And it's awesome. Nice. But I've been playing like Kepler. That's a new kind of survival game. Kind of looks like RimWorld-ish. Wildermyth, which I've talked about on here before. One of my favorite games of all time. It is a role-playing game, like tabletop, kind of comic book style looking, but it's like D&D. But you start out with 3 characters, and you start out as basically like village farmers in a massive story arc. And by the time you reach the end, you'll be like 2 generations in of like your children's children fighting the final big bad. And it's procedurally generated storytelling and writing with your characters and stuff. And it's wonderful writing. And it's perfect on the deck. Wildermyth, I can't recommend that enough, even off the Steam Deck. It's made for this thing, though.
Nice.
Curious Expedition 2, great on the deck. Black Skylands, great on the deck. For the King, all the remastered Final Fantasies. I'm finally working my way through with the intent to beat the entire series. I'm about halfway through now. Ni no Kuni remastered, Wrath of the White Witch. Ooh. That is a fantastic RPG. Studio Ghibli inspired graphics and animation. Very, very good. Let's see. What else am I playing? Just gonna check one more thing. I want to try to pull like something pretty powerful because again, I know people are like skeptical about this thing. Bloodstained, I've been playing that. Not necessarily powerful, but a great game. All the remastered Final Fantasies. Disco Elysium. That runs great. Oh, I've been playing Hardspace Shipbreaker.
Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to play that on Game Pass. It's like, how is that? I heard it's very chill.
Oh, dude, it is so chill, especially if you're on your couch with a Steam Deck.
Nice.
No, but it's that one. I gotta tell you, it has a very weird zen to it. You're basically, a worker, possibly as a clone of yourself repeatedly, but basically you apply for a job at this company in the like far future that breaks down ships, basically like a scrapyard.
Yeah,
and basically by the time you apply for the job, go through the training program, get your clone system set up, you're 2 trillion credits in debt. And
even in the future, there's debt.
Yes, and the whole point of this game is to work off your debt by salvaging these ships and salvaging the parts And and you'll if you die, that's okay. They're gonna regenerate you. You're gonna come back to work the next day. And like it's cool. It's very, very chill in that like you'll have different ships. You'll have to like look at them structurally and see where like the separation points are, and then you got this tool to do your cutting, and you have this tool to do your melting, and then there's like a demolition tool, and it's dangerous. Like basically you have like raw materials which you cut off and throw into a furnace with like this propulsion gun that you have, or it'll grapple onto things. And if you grapple onto something heavy and pull, like you'll pull yourself toward it. If you grapple onto something heavy and pull, you'll pull it towards you. And if you're not careful, you'll smash yourself in the face, which I've done several times. But yeah, so you have a furnace that you throw raw materials in, and then like a storage facility that you throw like components and more expensive electronic stuff in. But it gets very, very tricky. Like if you rocket something over there and it doesn't quite go in, it'll still float on its own, capacity in space. But if you're like me, you start getting impatient. You want to finish up your day's work. You're running out of oxygen. And I go to push it in, and then I realize I went too far and basically crossed the event horizon for either the furnace or the component thing.
No.
And has a slight vacuum thing, sucks you in and destroys you, and you die. And then you come back to work the next day. It's very cool. If you like just the act of like slowly taking something apart, crawling around the insides of a ship, to take stuff out of it, and slowly turn, what looks like you can crawl inside it, like a fully functional spaceship. And there's a whole bunch of different ones. And then like there's hazards inside. It could be exposed wires, or it could be like corrosive materials. It's fun. It's a fun challenge, but it's really relaxing, and I highly recommend it. It runs beautifully on the Steam Deck. And
nice.
Even if you're not going to play it on the deck, like it's a game I could see you becoming obsessed with, to be honest. Like it's a good one. I think you would have a lot of fun streaming with your crew.
Okay. Well, is it multiplayer?
I don't know. I don't think so. Hold on. I have to. I don't want to naysay that for sure. I'm looking right now. No, it is single player. Okay. But it is one of those like the shit that could happen is worth streaming, because a lot of it like a scanner is, I'm looking at the wiki thing right now. A scanner can also be used to identify possible hazards. The ships featured in the game are procedurally generated, and each of them features potential hazards that can kill the player. For instance, players may accidentally cut through electrical wires or coolant pipes, resulting in a huge explosion. There's also a trigger an uncontrolled decompression, causing the player alongside all objects and items in a room to be flushed out from the ship. Like, it's cool, man. It's definitely cool. Like one of the most valuable items in the game is the ship reactor. Once it's pulled out from its coolant casing, players need to bring it to the deposit location as quickly as possible, or else it will melt down and trigger a huge explosion.
Oh,
no. It's very fun, man. I highly recommend it. I think you'll really enjoy it. But yes, I have not run into something yet on the Steam Deck that I would say was unplayable, unless it was like just not designed for the control scheme that's there. And even then, the community generally comes through with a decent control scheme. But there's just some stuff that may not work.
I imagine like those aren't, what is it, like I say the check mark, but checked off for the Steam Deck.
You can ignore that. Mainly because, yes, if it is a green check mark, it'll run flawlessly. If it's a yellow check mark, you're fine. 9 times out of 10, it just might be that the text is a bit smaller, just because of the form factor. I have not run into any of those problems. Even the ones that are like, we haven't tested this yet. I've probably done about 20 of those, and I'd say 18 are fine. One, I think it was just because it was completely incompatible with Proton, which is the Linux OS kind of running behind the scenes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the other was it like required a mouse. It had no way of and that would have been fine, but it also required keyboard input that you couldn't remap to joystick buttons.
Joysticks, okay.
Other than that, though, I've had no problems. It's probably my favorite thing that I've ever got myself. I've had so much fun with it. With that, I've been playing Trails in the Sky, Chapter 2. That's been my main one. Ni no Kuni has been my other main one. I dabbled in Elder Scrolls Online this week, just with the new expansion releasing. that is a phenomenal game. Like, it's a phenomenal single player multiplayer game. In that, like, I can play that by myself. There's a huge, rich story to enjoy. It's a ton of fun. If you're even remotely interested in the Elder Scrolls setting, like, it's really worth a look. It's free to play, but the subscription service, I think they've really nailed masterfully. Is if you pay the subscription service, I think it's $12.99 a month. You get every single bit of DLC they've ever released. It's all included, and you can play easily like 300 hours of a game for that, monthly price. And by the time you're getting close to halfway through, they'll release another expansion. I've never caught up. It's very good. The other one I'm enjoying, Nick, that I really like, another good one to stream once you get your head around it, is Songs of Six. Have you heard of this one?
No.
It's in early access. It is a city builder, but they're calling it a city-state builder. And I can see why. It's a massive, like one of those games where you, like, click and drag the zone for a building. Like, this is, and then, like, the outer part is your walls. And then, like, this is going to be the barracks for now, and so you can make separate bedrooms. And this is going to be the hunter's shack. And this is going to be the, whatever, you get the idea. And you start out with, like, 6 settlers. And you have to, like, satisfy the needs that they need at the time. It'll start out with food. Like, you just need to start bringing in enough food between growing crops and hunting animals to have a surplus to where they can survive and be happy. Then they need a place to sleep. And the more you start satisfying their needs, the more you'll have immigrants of, many types wanting to come to your city. And it's fantasy-based. And right now I'm just trying to make a city of humans, because I really don't want to make it harder on myself with like, interspecies conflict at this point. But what's really cool is you'll get to a point where you start going on the macro level where it's like, you've now got a great city blueprint that's working great, and then you could just start, like, building massive scale to where you're basically building a city-state. And then it takes the next phase. They implemented combat a few months ago, where then you can start fighting against other city-states. So it's like, if you're training your populace and you're arming them, then there's, like, this whole battle thing where you can, like, take over other territories or plunder. I haven't gotten there yet, but, like, I've watched videos of people that have, and it's really neat. Like, it's really well done. This is, like, one of those, like, grand building games that I could see if they deliver on the promise this has so far. And the game is pretty damn jam-packed. Like, you could easily play this for 100 hours as it is. And it looks like they're well on their way to delivering all the stuff they want to deliver for a 1.0, and rather quickly. If this sounds like something you'd enjoy, like, again, a building game with, like, a lot of options and a lot of, like, you want to settle by a river and have a fishing economy, like, you can do all that. It's really, really neat. I'm enjoying it a lot. So I've been playing that off and on, basically by going with a YouTube walkthrough video from this great dude, Icon Gaming, who plays a lot of these games and really, like, figures it out and then walks you through. Because I will say this is kind of overwhelming. It doesn't have a great tutorial. So until you watch, like, again, it's early access too.
Yeah. They haven't put that in yet. Yeah.
So I highly recommend, like, watch a video, watch Icon. I'll push his channel. He's great. His version 0.61 walkthrough on Songs of Six. Watch the first episode. I guarantee you'll be like, I want to go play this fucking game. It's great.
Yeah, I look at the quick Steam thing on it. It's like, this is pretty interesting looking.
It's very fun.
It's got that, kind of retro bit look to it, and
like RimWorldy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Dwarf Fortress even a little better than that. Yeah, it's totally worth picking up. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing as far as watching. Star Trek Strange New World, like I said, I had to put that on pause. My wife and I are, I think, on episode 6 of Stranger Things Season 4, Part 1. Dude, I swear to God, this series can do no wrong. Like,
it's that good, huh?
It might be the best season yet. Might.
Nice.
It's really, really, really good. Again, just that the whole cast, they're so perfect, and the story's great. And again, they kind of give it a D&D bent as far as, like, who the enemy is this time. What I love, it's taking place in the late 80s now. They start getting into the whole D&D satanic panic At the time when Nick and I were growing up. A lot of the grown-ups thought D&D meant we were killing goats in our basement, casting spells. And they really get into that and the hysteria of that. And I think it's a really cool backdrop to the actual gory shit that's happening with the monsters of Stranger Things. It's very, very good. If you have been watching the series, you're probably already done with it. I'm just slow. But if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. It's great. They have not let me down yet. It's been a wild ride. And the part 2 will be 2 more episodes to finish it off, I think next month. So it's very good. Absolutely worth it. If you have Netflix, just go watch it. You'll have a blast of 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever it is. Yeah, that pretty much caps what I've been watching and what I've been playing. Release highlights. I know we talked about this a little bit. The Elder Scrolls Online released High Isle this week. It pulled me back in.
It's out now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Released yesterday, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it pulled me back in because I wanted to check it out. I'm nowhere near. Well, I lie. Elder Scrolls scales, online scales for you. So like, if you want to go run over to High Isle and check it out, you can totally do that. I'm still not stuck, but playing in the area where I was trying to finish off a few quests last time. And like, I haven't played in months, but I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I want to finish that up. So I'm doing that right now rather than playing the expansion. But it's great. I will say, ESO has always done free to play very well. And they do it right. Where I'm not so sure on that is Diablo Immortal, which also
my god. Let's talk about Diablo Immortal.
All right, I'm going to preface this with I played it for about an hour, and that was today.
Ooh.
Graphically it's okay. Gameplay seems okay. Is this going to hook me? Probably not. Yes, I got to the point where I beat like the intro chapter and then it throws the door open and it's like, oh no, and you made your first daily kill and blah 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 blah. Obviously after an hour I haven't felt compelled to even look at the shop. I'll give it a fair shake. I will be honest and give it a fair shake. I'll give it 4 hours. And I'll see if just how pervasive the please buy your super crystals is. I've heard plenty of stories though, and it sounds like it's pretty obscene. Have you had more time with this?
I have not played it, but I have been watching the coverage of it. So kind of watching some streams, kind of getting, a feel for it, looking up some of the articles, and it's oh my god. Like I think you kind of hit it right. It's like there is a serviceable game underneath it.
Sure.
It's literally being buried by the appalling nature of the microtransactions within it. And you could say like, oh, it's a mobile game, isn't it? You're kind of supposed to have these like I have a hard time with that argument. Like, and it feels like this is what gives mobile games such a bad rap. It's like, it's like you kind of expect it from mobile games, but now granted, I think there are a handful of mobile games that actually, it's like a serviceable game, and obviously they will always have microtransactions, but they do it in such a way that it doesn't beat you over the head with it. But from what
it doesn't ever feel like absolutely required for you to enjoy the full game.
Yeah, it's not required, and it's more like it's more the route of like, oh, it'll speed you up and and get to pay to go faster type of thing. Which for me is about the limit of my pay to win. But yeah, looking into this. The breakdown is it will, and take this as you will, because obviously it's like not all players are going to get, go to this level of min-maxing or whatever, but people have figured out that in order to to max out your character, it will take 10 years of play plus $110,000
Jesus Christ
to fully max your character. And you cannot do it without paying. And that's probably the big kicker here of this is absolutely pay to win.
Yeah.
In that I guess there's a crafting mechanic that it takes like certain kind of star gems or whatever, and you cannot get above I think it's like 2 stars without paying for something.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say, a streamer that I've watched now for quite some time, and I always enjoy his take on things. But I've been watching Carnage for a few years now. I've been subbed to his channel with my like Prime subscription for like 2 years in a row. He's really good, and I think he always gives a very fair shake to a lot of things. And he had a very interesting thing to say about Diablo Immortal, and it really got me thinking. And maybe that's the meat and potatoes of this episode before we close shop. But I have to say, he goes on. There's a YouTube video. I'll put the link in the show notes where he was talking about Diablo Immortal, and he said, you know, there are plenty of games that are free to play with a pay mechanic. And he goes, Diablo Immortal is definitely Blizzard trying to see how far they can push it with how much they can get people to pay to play to win. And he really makes a good point that this game of all games is a real candidate for why there needs to be a rating system of how pervasive and how required the pay to win, or how required the paywall is to experience the full game. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And he says, and he goes, like, he was just breaking it down. He's like, and I'm spitballing here, but like, is it just a game where it's like you're paying for more energy units so that you could just play more in a sitting when it's a game that's meant to be like a little bit more passive? Maybe that's a 1 out of 5. Is it just cosmetics? Or maybe, no, he's like, just cosmetics? Maybe that's a 1 out of 5. Is it cosmetics plus pay for energy units? Maybe that's a 2 out of 5. Is it pay for sections of the game that you won't normally get? Like, he breaks it down really interestingly. And he's like, and he goes, all said, with all that listed, he's like, Diablo Immortal would be a 5 out of 5. Like, in order to get the full enjoyment of this game, you have to pay, and pay a lot. And it's very subtle in how it ropes you in, so it's very predatory, the way he laid it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is that yeah, like everything I'm saying is absolutely like it's maximum predatory.
Yeah. And Ko brings up a really good point. He's like, it was again, a lot of the people playing these free-to-play games are kids.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't have to spend money on it, and they have fun, and it's something to keep them busy for a little while. And it really ropes them in with like, oh, get this new look for your armor, and this and that, and you can pay this and pay that. And they just don't have a conception of the value of $1, and it's just a number. And like, it sounds like Diablo Immortal really is Blizzard going, how far can we push this? I'm very interested to see, as somebody who, I think I've made no secret of this, I absolutely abhor and hate and despise mobile gaming pretty much in every facet of its existence. Mainly because of this. Like, it's barely a game with money baked into it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just it's saying, and I'm going to go through a few of the names that now is there an icebreaker? So like basically this is like the first toke is free type of thing, or is there like anything that you
again, I have not hit a paywall yet. I played about an hour.
Okay.
I completed the intro, and again, there's some quality here. Like, this is the sad part. Like, Deckard Cain is voicing Deckard Cain, the guy that does Deckard Cain. The story so far is very interesting. It takes place between Diablo 2 and 3. Again, I'm an hour in. The gameplay seems very, for what it is, it's solid and kind of fun. Obviously, you all listen to me long enough, I probably won't be playing this next week. But I will at least give this a fair shake, because I really am curious. And I think I hit that point, but I wasn't able to verify because it was almost time to do the show. I had just finished the intro mission, and all of a sudden, like, this giant door opens, basically, symbolically, and all these other options opened up, and I'm like, oh boy, like, what is all this? And I'm sure they're not free. But I'll give it another look tonight. But it does feel like, I feel like I'm going to hit that wall pretty quickly. But I also have a coworker who's playing it, and my buddy Adam is really enjoying it, and he said he's put in quite a handful of hours at this point and hasn't felt like an urge to pay. I guess the incentive is there, but like he's just trying to see how much of the game he can enjoy. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try that. I want to see how long till I either get bored as shit, or it just beats me over the head enough with like, oh, you should pay for this, right? Just say fuck you and shut it off. And again, it's kind of sad because what's there, like the production values seem decent. I mean, for a mobile game, I can't imagine Deckard Cain lending his voice to a fucking phone game. So it's like, it's a
Right.
little bit of a step above. But I don't know. Like I said, I've only had an hour with it, so I don't want to necessarily give a verdict. But I have read and seen so much of just how pervasive the microtransactions are. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that's I would be curious, like how soon does it hit and how often does it hit?
I mean, that's really the only thing I want to find out. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I'm playing this. At what point does it hit where it's like, I may not need to, but I feel like if I really want to enjoy this, I should pay. That's what I want to find out.
Yeah, and you know, and like you said, like the concern here is like, and I totally agree. Like, you know, I feel, you know, when it comes to any, not just mobile games, like any game, like there should be an upfront, because I think there's even like a gotcha system in this.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like it all stops you, everything from a Game Pass to cost obscurity with
Oh
you know,
yeah, there's the
in-game
battle pass. Like,
currency.
it's a 5 out of 5, dude, for
Yeah.
pushing you to pay.
Hot State, apparently, like after you finish dungeons, there'll be a limited time off. It basically like pops up saying you can get more loot, you know, if you pay now, pay 99 cents.
Yeah,
And it's like, wow. It's like, and the thing is, it's like one of those, like, Blizzard shouldn't need to do this. Like,
that's what blows me away.
like, you know, the fact that it's such a well-known IP, being Diablo, but you know,
Like,
apply-
everybody would
apply
spend
to-
$50 on that.
yeah, even if it was like a you know, a mobile World of Warcraft or mobile Overwatch, like I think you'd still have the same arguments. Like, you know, it's such a well-known IP. It's like, why are you leaning so hard into this thing like this? This is absolutely insane. It's like, you know, you like fully expect it out of, like, you know, all the humdrum games that just push out mobile every other week type of thing.
The only thing I'm surprised about with this one at this point is that I'm surprised they haven't thrown an NFT piece of armor in there.
Right.
I'm sure it's fucking coming with these
just give it a little
blockchain boardroom
bit. Yeah,
idiots.
that's right. Give it a little bit. It'll be there. It's like, good Lord.
Fucking assholes.
And yeah, it's just like it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
And so anyway, like, yeah, I would absolutely like to see a rating system, and or, you know, it's like, especially when it comes to like gotcha stuff, it's like, hands down, you should have a percentage rate of like, what is the percentage rate?
Yeah, people deserve to know. Like,
Yeah.
what is, if I'm going to play this and not pay?
Yeah.
What's the percentage?
And yeah, I don't think there's anything important. Like, some games, you know, actually do put that up front, and it's like, absolutely
Warframe does that.
Yeah, appreciate when they do that. It's like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, Warframe does that. They've been very upfront about that, and they have actually taken out a lot of the gotcha elements. If you remember, we talked about this on an earlier episode where they were like, no, people were playing this like a slot machine, and that's not what we ever intended. Like, that's just wonderful.
Yeah. And that's also the risk too, even, you know, in Diablo, where it's like, I think it's more like if you get into the competitive aspect, the PvP aspect of it, it's like, you're going to be on this constant drive. Like, it's like, oh, this guy's better than me because he's got, you know, you know, he's the whale, so I got to whale harder type of thing.
Yeah, I can't stand that shit.
And like, you know, some people have said like, yeah, it's like, you know, I'm you know, like a recovering gambling addict, and like, this is hitting all my buttons right now.
Dude.
And it's like, you know, it's like, I play games for fun, but now it's like, I can't play games for fun. I got to be, you know, it's not a safe zone for me anymore.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, and it's totally predatory on folks that struggle with that. Like, it just drives me nuts. But yeah, so we'll see. I'll let you know when I hit that first paywall.
Yeah.
I will play it until then, and I don't think it's going to take long.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened in the first hour.
So was I. Just some quick upcoming releases. The main thing I'm looking forward to, Friday, Nick, I think I sent you a link for this a while back, the Quarry releases.
Oh, this is the Dark Pictures one, right?
This is a Dark Pictures one, like the summer camp one. It looks fantastic. I'm currently playing through Little Hope. Amber and I have been playing through that. These games are fantastic. If you grew up watching like old horror anthologies, think like Tales from the Crypt and stuff like that, these games are playing those. and there's so much choices and forks in the road and potential for people to die. Like, your experience could be completely different from the person next to you that has played the game. And so the Quarry comes out. It's professionally acted. You got some David Arquette action going.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great. It looks great. It looks fun. I'm so there for anything. What is it? Big Giant Games, I think they're called, or Super Giant Games. When they make these games, I'm there for every single one of them. They are an absolute blast. They're a fun ride, and I can't wait. Can't wait. I'm gonna hold off on playing the Quarry until we finish New Hope or Little Hope. I do want to check out House of Ashes after that, and then I'll move on to this. But they're great games. They are fun. They're well written. They're scary. Highly recommend it. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude, check it out. If you haven't played like Man of Medan, that was great. We beat that one.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a blast with that. We beat that about a month ago. Little Hope, we're probably halfway through. Just wonderfully creepy, beautiful games. And Little Hope Man of Medan had Uncle Dunks from Lock and Key. I don't know if you saw that on Netflix.
No, I didn't watch that one.
It was a good one. But yeah, Duncan from Lock and Key plays in that one. It's good. Definitely check it out. They're fun games if you like horror anthologies. And the creepy, I don't know who the creepy psychologist guy is in the Dark Pictures anthology, but he is a fucking creepo, and I love him. And basically, again, like Tales from the Crypt, where it was like the Crypt Keeper, you have this guy who's like a psychologist analyzing you and your choices as you play the game, and like talking down on you on it. It's great. But yeah, check them out. It's coming Friday. That's generally it. Like Nick and I said, we got some great game shows coming up. Mainly the two big ones are going to be the Xbox Showcase on the 12th. We got Jeff Keighley's Shindig tomorrow. I don't know, maybe if I'm feeling extra motivated, maybe I'll stream or something. Probably not, because it's a Thursday, so don't listen to anything I say. The Netflix
I'm probably going to try and stream it. Like, I know it's streaming in the afternoon, but I'll probably, do a watch of it in the evening.
If you do, I'll watch for my notifications. If anything, watch for Retro Rental to pop up on Nick's chat feed tomorrow, and we can talk about it. Netflix at Tribeca is on the 10th. Okay. I don't know. I don't watch much TV or movies anymore, but I'll check it out. But the big one is obviously June 12th. You got the Xbox and Bethesda Showcase. To Nick's point, I'm more excited to see what they're going to do with the indie scene. I think Xbox has always been very good with a lot of indie developers and very good to them, so I'm very excited to see what's coming. And then the one thing I did want to mention, because I know I raved about, and I'm still playing, over 130 hours at this point, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, Owlcat Games is releasing a role-playing tactics game, like XCOM style, called Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader.
Oh, yeah. Well, I say Warhammer, but studio.
Yeah, Owlcat Games.
Who's Wizards, right? Or not?
No.
They had their show. They had their showcase. They had their showcase of all. Basically, it's mostly.
I know it any other day. I'm just looking at it now.
It's like brain fart.
Where is it? Games Workshop. Thank you.
There we go. Games Workshop had their little thing. I think it was last week, but yeah, they kind of showed off a lot of their games. And that was one that like that looked pretty cool.
Oh, it looks awesome. And again, Owlcat Games.
Yeah. They teased a little more of
Dark Tide.
Dark Tide
looks great.
No gameplay, but it's like a little more of the story. It's like, ooh, I'm still signed up for it.
Listen to me. Vermintide 2 in the Warhammer 40k setting.
Good.
That's all I fucking need to
right?
hear.
It's like, sign me up.
Sign me up. Yeah, so that looks fantastic. We'll definitely be following that one. But with that in mind, we are going to wrap things up. It has been a great episode 89. It's been great to catch up with you, Nick. I'm looking forward to jumping on your stream tomorrow and just being my stupid profane self while I drink a glass of mead as we watch the great Jeff Keighley. And I just want to, again, I have to send a thank you to Jeff, who will never listen to this until we interview him, at least. And he might be our next big get, now that I think about it. Anyway, and we'll do it. You said we wouldn't get Richard. We fucking got Richard.
We got him.
But I love that he does this stuff, and I know, from what I understand, he puts a lot of his own money and time into it. And I just appreciate that. Like, it's keeping like that gaming excitement alive from like somebody else that's not a major publisher. So I'm excited to see what he's going to cover tomorrow, mainly just so I can show up on Nick's stream and pollute it like I normally do. But yes, other than that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Big shout out to the people listening to us. Again, I am working really hard to get more consistent with this. It hasn't been 2 months, it was just 1 month, so now it's going to get to be 2 weeks. I'm telling you, I'm getting there.
Step on the accelerator pedal.
Step on the pedal a little bit. It was good to do this on a Wednesday night. I'm liking this. I got to get back to this. And but yes, Nick, great to chat with you as always.
Always fun.
And, yeah, great to catch up. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And until we talk to you again, you know, we always say it, we always mean it, but really, with everything going on in this world, have fun. Hold on, I'm typing the Craig macro right now. Have fun, play games, and don't be dicks.
Peace.
See you, everybody. Catch you next time.